Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Ultima Final Fantasy, the ultimate in delayed and convoluted countdowns Final Fantasy podcasts. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
Now you have to explain that. I am your other host, Joseph Bigolier.
And, well, first off today, we're going to explain this inside joke here. So, when we do our shows, we have to capture room silence or room noise to pull it out of the mix later to make our quality sound as good as possible. And to do that, and also to make it not a living nightmare for us to mix being in two different locations now, we have to have 10 seconds of silence around the same time. So I told Joe on go, we had to start recording, and then I did 3, 2, 1, and then I waited for like 2 seconds, and then I said go.
Yeah, because when someone does a countdown, a 4 count basically, you're waiting for the rhythm. You go 3, 2, 1, and you assume like the space in between the 3, the 2, and the 1, you get this equal amount of space before you say go, so that we're both ready, we both press go on go at the same time. But you went 3, 2, 1, go. And it was, it infuriated me. I'm still not happy about it. Imagine if I never stopped recording and I just made you do that again.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more work for me because only one of us has the software now, so.
Yeah. That's why the show is no longer of the same quality as it used to be, audio-wise. Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
well, it also sucks because we're not in the same room. That made it a lot easier, too.
Yeah, that's true. That made it really easy.
There was, no variation whatsoever.
Yeah, so Schweiss, why do you keep on bringing up the fucking Final Fantasy XIV expansion thing? You bring it up in my it's not like we haven't had the conversation 16,000 years ago. We were like, we're done. This is what we're gonna do, and that's how we're gonna do it. And the last episode of Ultima now is gonna be scheduled for Christmas, basically, and that's it. And then we're good. But you just keep on wanting to be like, but what about the 14 expansion?
Well, I mean, it's what about the 14 expansion? We had a hierarchical, Jesus Christ, approach to these games in the past, right? It was always mainline series. So anytime a mainline series came out, we would stop doing what we were doing, or we'd finish up a game in time for it, and then play the mainline game, and then go back to whatever we were doing. And then it was prequels and sequels, and then it was expansions, and then it was spin-offs of series spin-offs, then it was solo spin-offs, which is what it is now. So the idea is that if 16 came out, we would do 16 before we would do a mana game. But 14's expansion's coming out, or it's already out, and we're not doing that, so just saying.
I'll tell you, outside of we have every episode planned from now until our final, right? And it should, unless we get stuck in World of Final Fantasy, we got it all planned out. We know what all of our subjects are going to be. And then we're going to have, a special little series run. And then we're going to have our finale ranking episode, right? It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be bow-tied. It's going to end on a very good date. And then we can go to a point where we're not doing this weekly, and doing the Final Fantasy XIV expansion thing is going to be much better for both of our lives at that point in time. Because the pressure of this thing is not going to be there. And it's just going to be a beautiful ending, all right? It's going to be just right. If we're due the fucking 14 expansion, I don't have 8 ideas for new episodes, man. We have been talking about Final Fantasy for 5.5 years. There's maybe one spotlight we can do that I've thought of in case we have an emergency thing. But other than that, man, I'm tapped out of Final Fantasy shit, unless we're talking about something we're talking today we're going to be discussing Final Fantasy X 2.5's first half, I guess. It's not even the full thing. I guess the book is only half of a story, which thanks. Thanks for that, Square. Yeah, read the book half and then listen to the audio drama half later. Oh, what a great rollout.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about you, Schweiss. I don't know about you, but I think we're going to be at a good spot, and then we can play some 14 expansion right after. That's the idea. And we'll have recorded our final episode like a month and a half before it even comes out, so we actually can start. I think it's like mid-November is when we could start. So
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just saying.
I feel like we finished this discussion before. You keep on bringing it the fuck up, and I don't know why. What is the reason? Outside of, our nice pristine list, which I've never been in the situation where you were the one arguing for the list. That's number one. Throughout the entire history of the show, it's usually you who wants to fight against whatever, preconceived order I had. And so this is odd for me. And also, I don't know. I think it's just a better bow tie when we finish the final game than having our final thing be an expansion. I'd rather just talk about the expansion later, when before the show is bow tied. You know?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I don't know. Over time, I've just come to respect the list. You know, It's the greatest. It's the greatest thing you've ever created. It's as far as written down, the written word. It's the ultimate list. You know,
the ultimate Final Fantasy list. Yes, all the released games. You're right.
But sure. I mean, that'll give us 2 episodes with the patches up to the new one, and then the new one, of course. So that'll be kind of nice, I guess.
Yeah. So this is what's left, Schweiss. This week we have Final Fantasy X 2.5's Will. I think Will is right. What the fuck? All right, I'll look it up in a second. Whatever. Final Fantasy X 2.5, the novel, which we read last week. Next week we're going to review the audio drama. And then the week after that, we got Final Fantasy Unlimited. And then the week after that, we have World of Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
and that'll be all the Final Fantasy media. Obviously, all the ones that were, released on their own. Excuse me.
Yeah, this is Price of Eternity. Will is the...
oh, yeah. Will's
the other thing.
Audio drama. Okay. Price of Eternity. The Price of Eternity. The will... What does that mean? Price of Eternity.
I don't know.
The price... Is the price eternity? What price do you have to pay in order to gain eternity?
I didn't really notice any eternal things happening, so...
Nor did I. Also...
What's happening?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you the whole time.
Okay, well, that was nice. My fucking, I moved my phone and my headset unplugged, and I was freaking out. My Bluetooth broke, so I have to get a new one at some point. Yeah, Price of Eternity. Okay. Yeah, Price of Eternity, Will, Unlimited, World of Final Fantasy, final ranking episode.
Yeah,
Bang.
yeah. Do you listen to shit at work with the Bluetooth?
I used to, when it was working.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that
do.
makes sense. Okay.
No, but the front cover thing popped off one day. And I was like, damn, I have used this thing to death. And so I must purchase another one at some point. It'll probably be after I can afford my car registration, which should be soon, by the way. I think things are turning around financially, at least for a second here. So we're slowly going to build our way back up. That's right. We're going to slowly build our way back up. I've been eating carbs, which are really cheap. I've not gotten a migraine yet, so that's good. Hopefully I don't get a migraine tomorrow because I'm going back on my diet when I get paid on Thursday. So, yeah. It's gonna be, yeah. I know last time we talked, I bitched for an hour basically, and I feel like I need to make up for that. I'm having a great time, guys. I'm just having a great time. It's wonderful. World of Final Fantasy has gone from being an immense annoyance to just simply boredom and mediocrity.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about what it's at. Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, once Tama stops talking, it's really just kind of a dull game.
That's right, yeah. That's the only quality to be seen.
Oh, my God. I can't believe it. I think this is the real reason why you want to have the 14 expansion be our last game, is so that we're not, like, on a downer note with World of Final Fantasy. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, yeah, you know. All these Final Fantasy games, we get to our final game. It's a retrospective game, and it is not remarkable in any way, shape, or form. That's... I think that's what it is. I think you want the 14 expansion so that we can be like, yeah! Or what if we have the same reaction?
We might.
Like, yeah.
I mean,
none of the other 14 expansions have really like blown our minds. They've had good parts, but...
Yeah, they've gotten better as it's gone along.
Yeah, that's true.
But, oh, dude, no. Okay, so 4 Heroes of Light has a 71 on Metacritic, and World of Final Fantasy on PS4 has a 77.
That's not true. That can't be true.
The Maxima has a 71, though. So the Maxima is worse, even though everyone told us to buy it. It's like, let's fuck with them and make the game even worse.
That's interesting, huh? Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
and that's why I was like, oh, this could be pretty good, you know? I've got a lot of preconceived notions about what this game is. I could be wrong. And then I got in and I was like, wow, I wasn't right. I wasn't right enough. Like, I suppose I was wrong, but it was the wrong kind of wrong.
Sorry, man. It's just the way it is. It's the way the cookie crumbles. This is the last game they give us outside of 15, I guess.
Yeah, and this would have been released before 15, if 15 wouldn't, or after, if it wouldn't have been delayed. So this would have been
meddling kids.
Yeah, this would have been the newest Final Fantasy.
God. Well, yeah. I'm glad we got 15 later, I guess.
Yeah, thanks.
The sour taste in our mouth isn't constant, you know?
Yeah.
Although some people, I'm sure, might disagree. Some people, a lot of people don't like 15, so.
Yeah, and there are people that love this game, too, so, I mean.
Yeah, I don't know where they are, but I'm sure they exist, right?
Yeah.
Sure, people enjoy 50 Cent Blood on the Sand as well and give them like really high scores, despite the fact that when they're talking about Blood in the Sand, it sounds like a wretched experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little reference to our latest New Clan episode. All right, Schweiss, where are you in world of the Final Fantasy?
All right, so I have gotten to, I think I'm at the end of chapter 10 now. So I've ridden on the Adamantoise. I did all of the like FF10 stuff, met some characters from 10 and 3 and all that shit. So right now I'm just focusing on the story and trying to capture or imprison every monster that I come across, just to make the platinum a little easier. But yeah, I think I'm going to focus on the story pretty hard and then finish it up, because we have like, you know, almost a month. But I want to try to get the platinum, if not just get as far as I can on it before we review the game.
I want to ask you a really important question about getting that platinum. Mm-hmm. Why? Well,
I don't know. There's like a few reasons why I get platinum trophies in games. There's the difficulty, which isn't there for this, of course. There's the brand loyalty, which is there. And there's also...
But will it be there after this game?
Probably not as strongly, I suppose. The faith will be shaken to its core. And then there's also, like, the ease of it. So if it seems like it's an easy platinum, I'll go for it. Even if it's a game I don't like.
Does it seem like an easy platinum to you?
It's easy, but it's real long. So yes, because I don't really count ease and length as the same.
Yeah, because like you got a full-time job, you got 2 kids, you got fucking 4 podcasts. I guess you only have 3 right now. You got 3 podcasts. You got 2 video game podcasts. I mean, you got the time. Let's be clear here. You got the time for this kind of boring platinum.
That's right.
What else are you gonna do? Just twiddle your thumbs all day?
Yeah, sleep. Please. Who does that?
I got a shitload of time, and I can't even imagine like being like, I'm gonna platinum. I might like platinum Far Cry Primal. Not this game. Not this game. Like, this isn't going to be the game that's going to be my time waster. Oh, my God. No.
I mean, it can't get worse, right? I feel like the worst part so far is the story, and once that's done, I mean, I won't have any cutscenes to wade my way through, So that'll be good.
Oh, Jesus. Why are you doing that to yourself? I'm on Chapter 5. I have a couple hours into the game. Like, I know that probably tomorrow I'll try to play a good chunk of it. Try to play a few hours. I might stream, but once again, I have 2 incredibly annoying roommates. One roommate, of course, I bitched about last week, but I have another roommate who has like an upstairs loft, and he plays his TV. And it just, he doesn't care that he's not the only person who lives there. So he doesn't wear headphones or anything like I do. My entertainment center is in the living room, and unless it's like a special occasion, I don't watch the TV without headphones on because there are 2 people in lofts, and they might want to sleep or whatever, have some peace. But the guy in the loft does not give a shit. And he watches The Office all fucking day long. I'm pretty sure he's watched it over like a few times in the last month that he's lived with us. So,
jeez,
yeah, there's that guy. So it's a separate annoying thing. It's just mostly a noise level thing, and I don't want to bug other people with like bling ding ding, bling ding 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 ding, bling ding 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 ding, bling ding 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 ding, just from like from 40 feet away. Not even 40, like 20 feet away, but like with a small like half wall between us. So. Yeah. I don't want to have to pester people with that when I stream, but yeah. It's the reason I can't do fucking Godzilla podcasts. This guy doesn't listen to anything. Like, he doesn't pay attention. Then the other guy's annoying. Everybody's loud, and it's fucking terrible. Fuck. All right. I'm having a great time. This is the best time of my life. Love. The Los Angeles, love it.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm starting to like it a lot more than I used to, for sure. That's a true statement. That's a true statement. I do like it a lot more than I used to. There are things about it that are god awful that the people living here haven't recognized as god awful because they haven't lived anywhere else. So, outside of those things, like, they got it. The highs are higher. I guess lows are lower, but highs are higher. All right. Before I start bitching about my apartment once again, do we have any news?
You know what? We do have a couple pieces of news, so let's dive into that. So, first up on news this week, that shit piece of fuck game, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT. Also one of the last games we had to play. Also trash. New villain, Gabranth. So you can play Gabranth from FF12. New DLC.
Oh, nice.
So if you haven't already, turned that into either a coaster or simply thrown it away because you just don't want it in your home. You can pay more money to get a DLC character. Look at that.
Is the disc the coaster?
The disc is the coaster, yes. If you bought it digitally, there is no use for that.
Doo-doo.
Exactly. Jesus. Have you seen the Final Fantasy VII Remake box art?
No, I have not. I'm trying to pull it up, but my phone's being really slow.
So, it looks just like the original Final Fantasy VII box art.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Shit, yeah, I saw that. It was like almost the exact same, right? And it's just like in a different box.
Yeah,
it looks dimension.
Yeah. It looks shittier, of course, because they are obsessed with putting the remake on there. Like, ever since
Final
you pointed
Fantasy
that
VII.
out.
Remake.
Yeah. It's so dumb. Like, no one else does that. No one else does that ever. They just call it. Like, when Star Wars Battlefront rebooted, it wasn't Star Wars Battlefront Remake. It was just Star Wars Battlefront and then Star Wars Battlefront 2. Resident Evil 2 Remake from the ground up, just like this one, just called Resident Evil 2. It's like, you know which one we're talking about if you talk about the game for more than 10 seconds. Just call it what it is. Like, it's just Final Fantasy VII reimagined. But see, if I told them that, they would then scrub remake and put reimagine, and I'd be like, God fucking damn it. Like, you know what?
If it's in multiple parts, I don't like the idea of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. That title makes me want to kill myself even more.
That's what it would have to be, though, because Final Fantasy, and we talked about this at a stupid length before. With like, what's part 2 going to be called? Is it going to be Final Fantasy VII 2 Remake? It's going to be Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, like Final Fantasy VII 2.5. Like, what are we going to go for here? And it's going to have to be Remake Part 2. It's going to be so stupid. God,
it's just clunky. It's bad.
And then, like, I almost say, like, fuck it, just release Part 2 digitally. Because, like, I was thinking, like, maybe just call it Final Fantasy Remake again, but then I was like, no, because what if he asks for it? Yeah, remake again.
Final Fantasy VII Remade Further.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII More Remake. God.
Final Fantasy VII Every Remake.
The remake should never be part of the fucking subtitle. Fuck. Why? Final Fantasy VII Make. You could do that as part of the Kingdom Hearts kind of titling.
Yeah.
Man, Final Fantasy. Then you could do like a subtitle thing, which I saw you guys joking about in the fucking Discord chat. Was it Discord or PSN? I can't remember. You can join those guys.
It was Discord.
What the fuck stupid titles did you fucking guys come up with?
You know what? Let me pull it up. I was looking at that earlier today. Oh no, shit! I think you're right. I think it was PlayStation.
Yeah, I think it might.
Oh, it was. Mine was Final Fantasy VII Remake : Ain't no getting off of this train. And then someone else was like, but you do get off the train because they release it in 2 parts. And then I made it Final Fantasy VII Remake. Got to keep your transfer ticket to get on the next train. Ain't no getting off of this train. And then the game ends. It's like, oh, we just got off the train. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, Barrett. We're going to be off. This train going to be waiting at the station a long time.
It's for Square Enix. It's a money train.
Yeah, it's fucking the golden train ramming up all of our wallets.
They got a golden ticket for that money train.
That's right.
Yeah, the okay, I'm going with Final Fantasy VII more remake as the worst one that they'll probably go with.
Yeah. Probably.
Remake more. And then the third one is Final Fantasy VII more remake. It'll just be an extra more. Oh, no, I got it! Final Fantasy VII Remake 2 TOO2.
It's just Remake 2. This is Final Fantasy VII Remake 2. This is also Final Fantasy Remake 2, but not the same part. A different part added on.
Is this a remake of the remake? Is Final Fantasy VII Remake as well? Like, I don't get it.
No, it's Final Fantasy Remake.
Which one do I buy?
It's Final Fantasy Remake Part 2. Or Section 2 of Part 2.
God. This is so stupid. I hate the remake part of the title. Like, we know it's a remake, motherfuckers. Jesus.
Yeah. God.
Shit.
So we also have an FF8 original soundtrack, a revival disc, launching December 14th, 2019. So if you guys want some FF8
did they
soundtracks,
title it Final Fantasy VIII Revival Disc? Just in case we were confused about it.
The actual title is Final Fantasy VIII Original Soundtrack Revival Disc. So yes.
Oh, God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm mad. Fucking Square. Who is the fucking... All right, I don't even know.
Guy?
Like, who's the person who names this shit? Who's the name guy? The English language name dude. We need to get... Yeah, dude. He's doing a bad job. He needs to be fired.
Yeah, we got the logo guy.
What kind of project is this? It's a Final Fantasy VII remake. Oh, I got the title. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just in case anybody's confused. Also, what is this? Oh, it's a Final Fantasy VIII Revival soundtrack. Okay. Final Fantasy VIII Revival soundtrack. Coming to a store near you. Jesus.
Yep.
Oh.
So we also got some kind of Final Fantasy-esque news. Luminous Productions and Square Enix president and studio had discussed a mission to create a new global AAA IP. So it's not really Final Fantasy news, but it is using...
Yeah. I think we talked about that last time, actually.
Yeah. I think he might have, actually, yeah. I don't know what that's going to be, but, you know, interesting. I mean, we might have another could have been, would have been, should have been Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
But
we'll have that game. I'm so excited when it comes out. It's called New IP.
Not Final Fantasy, New IP.
Did you hear of the game New IP?
New AAA IP.
I would love it if they spelled it and they did their like crazy fucking titling with Japanese RPG shit. It'd be like NU AAA underscore, like you gotta underline that part and underneath is the subtitle IP. New AAA IP. I like that.
Yeah.
It's really got a good ring to it, you know?
Yeah, it really does. It's never been done before, so...
Yeah, imagine if they titled the Distant Worlds soundtrack, instead of coming up with the beautiful title Distant Worlds, instead they came up with Final Fantasy what would it be? Select Final Fantasy tracks orchestrated via a live orchestra. Like some bullshit title like that. That's what they would have to come up with. That's what they would come up with now. Whoever the guy naming this thing is like, what is it? This is what it is.
Yeah, it'd be Final Fantasy, select Final Fantasy tracks orchestrated, but also fucked with a little bit. The concert experience of a lifetime. Join Arnie Roth and his fuckers who meddle and tweak songs beloved by all.
Stupid. All right. What else we got?
So, January 23rd, 2020, Crystal Chronicles Remastered will be released.
Is this the interview with the guy?
Yeah. Apparently they're going to have cross-play and cross-saves confirmed.
Oh.
So, Switch, PS4, Android, and iOS. Yeah, you could play it on your phone with me, Joe.
Oh, wow. You could play everywhere. You could play Crystal Chronicles. You could play it on your Switch. And you could pick it right back up with your Android, right? Is that what it's saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I can't wait till people put down this game.
Yeah. I can't wait to platinum it and be one of the only people.
I just remember the bounty. I think we should call it the bounty hunter effect. It's like I remember that game as a kid. I remember other kids playing it and like having it at their house. I got my PS2 version off of a guy who had it in his old PS2 collection. Like it was a pretty popular, money making Star Wars game. And then you get the freaking remaster on the PlayStation Network store, and it is an atrocious game. And it turns out to be the exact same game as it was on the previous system. There wasn't like any problem with the transfer. It was just a bad game. And what you see is like a lot of people buy the game, but remember the fucking percentage on the completion rate of that game being like ridiculously low? I think it was almost everybody who buys Star Wars Bounty Hunter on the PlayStation Store realizes that it is a piece of shit and doesn't finish it. I expect something similar to happen with the Crystal Chronicles remake.
Yeah.
Or remaster, I'm sorry.
So, 21,000...
Like, wow, I remember when this was so great. And then just be like, oh yeah, no one finishes this game for some reason. That's odd.
Yeah, so... 21,669 people on PlayStation profiles for Bounty Hunter, right?
Okay.
51% of those, so 10,000, marked and claimed their first bounty, which you're supposed to do.
In like the first second of the game.
Yeah. 19% of people finished Chapter 1. 10% of people finished Chapter 2. 6% Chapter 3. 4% 3%. 3% of people beat it. So 3% of 21,000 people have actually finished that game.
I'd like to underline that between getting your first bounty, this is how bad Star Wars Bounty Hunter is. There's a 30% drop-off in the first mission from getting your first bounty, which is literally the first thing you do in that game, to the end of that mission.
Yeah.
So 50% start the game up and go, fuck this. Another 50% actually get the first bounty. And then, 30% actually finish the goddamn mission?
19% had finished the
19%! I'm sorry, yeah, 30% drop, so it's 30, yeah. Out of the 100% of people, it's oh my god. The difference is 30%. That's crazy.
And 134 beasts of burden have gotten every trophy, which means you have to get all the bounties, find all the secrets, and beat the game.
Slit all your wrists.
Yeah.
As well afterwards. That's part of the... they don't even give you a platinum for that game.
Nope.
It's evil. Straight up evil.
Out of the last 10 recent players... almost everyone has 4%, which is the one bronze. One guy has 4 bronzes, one guy has 5, and one guy has 7 and a silver. So it's 4%, 19, 23, and 42. That's over the last 2 weeks. Everyone's like, no. No.
Yeah, guys, Crystal Chronicles, not a great game. Not a great game. It has some serious problems. Although, to be fair, they're fixing the multiplayer, so that'll be nice. You know.
Yeah.
Fixing that huge problem. I think that's mostly what I read in that interview was about that. Kind of like how the multiplayer was going to work via online and stuff like that, instead of having to do some ski-wampus bullshit in order to do two-player on that goddamn game. Which it feels like that game was made for two-player, so it doesn't even make sense that that was the workaround that they did. It's like, make sure everybody owns a Game Boy Advance. It has this ridiculous cord.
Yeah, it's like, give them all the hoops. Like, how many hoops did you say we can force them to do? All right, give them all of those. Yeah, it's sick.
All right. Anything else in news?
Not really. A bunch of other random little things. Mobile stuff. Shit that don't matter. But, I don't know. Well, I'm excited to play, on my own time, of course, new AAA IP.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Remake TOO2. I don't know if they'll have Final Fantasy VII Remake TOO2. Well, I don't fucking whatever. I can't think of a third one. Fucking.
Well, so the third one could be Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? And then we have Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, and the third one could be Final Fantasy VII Remake 2, the number, comma, TOO. To say this is also part 2.
This is too
It's not part
much.
1. It's not part 1, but it's the second half of part 2.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's get to talking about Final Fantasy X 2.5 Price of Eternity.
All right, let's dive right on in. Okay, so you read part 1 of this thing, like, was it like a month and a half ago now?
So long ago. It feels like a different time in my life completely, honestly. I had just so many different things going on back then than I do now. It's hilarious. But yeah, Final Fantasy X 2.5, part 1. No, I guess actually it wasn't that long ago. I was thinking about the Final Fantasy 13 thing. Yeah, this one I read, just a few weeks ago. And the translation, sorry, this might surprise you guys who didn't listen to it, but the translation is difficult to get through, for sure.
Yeah.
It is translated from French, and my favorite named character, Kush. Kush says "vous" a lot, and the translator, in all their wisdom, decided to keep "vous" in as part of the thing. Now, you actually said it, Schweiss. I replaced it with "y'all," although she would just say "you" or "you guys."
Yeah.
Or something like that. She would just say "vous." And I was really disappointed at the translator doing that. But, you know, someone did, in fact, translate this whole goddamn thing, and we wouldn't have a translation otherwise. So, you know, big shout out to those people for doing all that work. Now we're going to shit all over the translation.
Yeah.
My favorite other thing... The other thing about it was, like, I couldn't tell who was talking, like, half the time. It would just, like, there'd be a paragraph describing the situation, and then there'd be lines of dialogue. And it wasn't always easy to infer, like, who's speaking right now. So I fucked up all the time on that. And then, the vocabulary was immensely difficult. And I'm trying to remember the sentence where they used transports improperly, but it was like he transports his love or something like that. Or I can't remember. It was hilarious though. Fuck, man, this thing was a journey to get through. It was a real journey. How was your half?
I don't know. Most of the half that I was on, it was pretty decent. I don't hate the translation or the writing, and I actually kind of thought this one was pretty interesting for most of your half anyway. Like it was getting pretty violent in there. There's a lot of warring going on, and that's something we didn't really see a whole lot in FF10 itself. Like we saw the battle on the beach with Sin, right? But he basically just vaporized everybody. So it wasn't super visceral or, super bloody and gibby. But in this, it's like, holy shit, these people are just getting fucking wrecked. So I thought it was an odd change of tone, but it was like, oh, okay, this is good. It's better than a childish change of tone, right? I think the translation is better than the other ones that we've done overall, but I do think there are a couple parts where it really, really kind of holds you up. And there were a couple words in there that, like, I didn't know. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah,
that's the world's most embarrassing thing for me. I think now, maybe, that there's now audio recording of me fucking up on vocabulary words. And it's something I've made fun of other people for doing my entire life. I get a lot of pleasure out of correcting people when they mispronounce a word when they're reading, and whenever it happens to me, because of all that buildup, I feel like I have failed as a human being entirely, and it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. There were at least like 3, doctorate in English level vocabulary words that I did not fucking know. I had to look up. What was the one? It was like Periori or something like that. I spent like an hour looking at that shit. Periori. Yeah. Periori. And I don't even remember what it is now. I have no fucking idea. Can't remember.
Yeah. I can't remember what mine was too. It was annoying. There was also Maleficent that kind of threw me off because to me
that was hilarious.
I was always like, why would you say that? Like, that's just I always thought that was just the character's name because it sounds like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like a way to describe someone's like behavior. It sounds like I don't know, like you're calling someone a devil. It's like, oh, you're a Maleficent. But I guess it works, but it just, I don't know, it just seemed really fucking weird, and I was like, huh, that's bizarre. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't use, like, something else.
Malevolent,
yeah, like, because that's...
But Maleficent is a word.
And she is malevolent, though, I mean, so, like, what? It is, apparently. So, fuck it.
So, yeah, that... Honestly, like, listening to that thing back is pretty entertaining. Listening to that, I think it's the most entertaining one we've done out of all the books. But now we're done with the books. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
No more reading.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that, the thing that you were saying at the beginning. You're like, I don't know why these things take us so long. Like, we both enjoy reading, like, but we just don't read these. Like, we just can't. It's just there's some kind of disconnect here.
Serious disconnect. So yeah, we start the thing, and it starts in the secret ending of 10-2 with Titus washing up on the beach. Titus, of course, does not talk like Titus. He talks like a very proper gentleman, and it's really confusing in the translation. So he won't use contractions, which is totally something Titus would do. He speaks like he's from the movie True Grit, and everything is like the proper wording, and instead of saying don't, he says do not.
Yeah.
Very hard to do a Titus impersonation when he's speaking that way, by the way. But yeah, Titus, as a freak, I guess, comes back and is reunited basically with Waka and Lulu and of course Yuna, and like hangs out and like does some shit with the Aurochs, and there's a big like welcome party, and Yuna is dealing with all the people in the thing. And all Titus does that whole time is he wants to spend time with Yuna, but Yuna is now like this new spiritual head of the community, and she has to deal with that.
What? Like, when the fuck did that happen?
I don't know. Maybe right at the end of the sphere hunting quest, she came back and has to help all the old ladies that didn't understand that their religion was a lie and was torn down. But
maybe that Vecna cock made her find God again. I'll make you see God. No, yeah, it is. Yeah, she did come back, and yeah, you're right. Titus is just kind of like pissed off, like, oh, Yuna's got no time for me, and Yuna's kind of teasing him, which I thought was kind of ridiculous.
Why the fuck is Yuna not spending? Like, come on, like all those old people, they're gonna be there for a little while longer,
Yeah, they're not gonna die yet. I mean, they're
spent some time with your long-lost love, who the faith have brought back for you. Like, what the fuck are you... What are you doing right now? And the whole time, it's funny, like, the whole time, the first, like, third of this book is just Titus being like, I really, really want to have sex right now.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, she's got all these old folks around her. I don't even think I could get it up, even if they were down to watch. Like, yeah, he's the whole time. He is pretty much just trying to get laid. You're right. It's not like we're not joking around here. Like that's straight up what's happening. Yeah.
So that's kind of nice about this whole book. So yeah, we kind of we know what happens. We know what 1 + 1 equals 2.
That's right.
And the fade out, it's not a fade out. We all know what's going on. The odd thing is there's like a point in the near the middle of the thing where she has to like get changed in front of him, and she's like embarrassed. It's like, didn't they have sex on the boat just like 3 hours ago? Like, what's going on here? This is really confusing, but yeah. Whole bunch of stuff with the Aurochs, and no one gives a shit about.
Oh, you didn't like reminiscing on Letty and Keepa and all those guys?
No, I didn't give a fuck. Give about as much of a fuck in the book as I did in the game about all those characters. But then there's like, it goes back in time or something. Is it back in time? I feel like they explained it in your half, and I just kind of rolled over it.
I have no idea, dude.
Okay. Like, on a different timeline, I believe it's in the past. There's like a war going on, and there's a character, like a summoner character named Kush, which, wow, what a name, Kush. Which is the fact that is associated with something else now. Oh my god, it's funny. All right, so Kush is a part of it, and like there's some other guys, and like people are being killed, and I just have no idea what's going on in that part of the storyline. But there's just like a lot of violence, and someone named Kush. So I really just laugh, and Kush says Yavuz a lot as well. And then we're like back to the Gull Wings. I remember Brother speaking and me doing an accent of fucking Shinra.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, that
probably
one
my
was
favorite
fun.
part of doing the goddamn voice work on this thing. But yeah, the Titus and Yuna finally sneak off, and they're able to get like on their private boat. I think it's the Aurochs boat. What is that thing called?
Yeah. Fuck. I don't fucking remember, dude.
Okay.
Fuck
All
the
right,
boat.
so they're on the boat.
It was a flashback. It was the Bavel. It was the battle between Xanarkand and I think Bavel.
Okay. So this
Besaid,
was pre.
So like it's after. It's weird because it just happens, you know, and like it's not the part that just happens after my part. Or no, even when your part ends, it's like in the middle of it, and then suddenly they're like, "Let's go fuck on this yacht," you know. And it's like it's so weird,
Which
like,
is what they do.
Yeah, as
Titus
you do.
and Yuna finally get some alone time. She has to be like snuck onto the boat, and then apparently, they have a good old time, and then the people in the world that they were just in are like, hey, where'd Titus and Yuna go? They were on this boat, and we can't find it. And in the Titus and Yuna world, like, they get back to their island, like, they're almost eaten by sharks and shit, and then they get back to their island, and it's Besaid, but it looks different. And they're like, what's going on? Did we just go into, like, a time portal? And is this before or after Titus's head explodes?
Oh, it's before. So after they are on the boat, like,
a beautiful place for me to stop, by the way, because I thought I didn't know what was going to happen next. After that, that's just where my last, because we did 17 chapters each. That's how like the cookie. That's how it crumbled, right? That's how it split up.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of my chapter, Titus's head explodes, or no, it's like ripped off or something, like a freaking grenade goes off, and his head comes off. Fucking crazy to end on that, and then to be immediately disappointed after. I guess would disappointed be the right word? I'm not sure. But yeah, apparently, they get on the shore, and they're helping each other out, and then Titus' head explodes from an explosive blitz ball, and we've seen this already in like the battle scenes, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously, like, the two things are kind of coalescing as the reader. They're like, oh shit, they went into the world where the war is going on, and an assassin who uses blitzball grenades has targeted Titus. But then, of course, it turns out to be a dream? Is that what it is? Just a fucking dream? We're just gonna end on a fucking cliffhanger for Joe, and he has to come and listen to Schweiss's second half and be like, oh no, Titus is still there.
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck was that about?
I don't know. I mean, like, it ended on a really interesting and fucked up note, and then, yeah, you're right, it just became this weird thing. I don't know. It's so bizarre, because after that, I mean, Yuna she's, like, talking to someone who's some sort of, like, divine being, right? And she has to fucking describe her relationship with Titus, and like she's like has to remember Titus.
This is exactly what happens with FF8. I remember this shit. So like a lot of your part of the book had to do with this, but basically like they could eventually gets to like, oh, they just got to think of where they want to go, and they'll go there, just like fucking not Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz. But then also like someone dreamt that they would be there, so they're there now. I'm sorry, I know I'm speaking like out of turn. I did not do a write-up or anything, so it's just really what I'm fucking remembering right now. And then, oh yeah, she has to describe her love, and it's kind of like FF8, where they're like, oh, we have to when we're in the time compression world and everything's going squampus, we have to remember each other. And that way we'll all exist. And it's just one of those, like, odd things. But then Titus is kind of like that in the Final Fantasy X game. He is literally like a dream. He's like it's something that someone made up, and he looks like someone else. Like, yeah, that's the crazy thing. So I guess this kind of goes with the whole Final Fantasy X thing. But yeah, that is bizarre. So what exactly happened in your half? I know it had to do with like Kush and dreams.
Yeah. So basically, after they so Yuna wakes up by Titus after her weird random dream of her like describing him to this godlike creature, right, and discussing like the day they met and like how she knows him and all that kind of shit. So then he wakes her up, and they're basically sort of in the Cloister of Trials in Besaid, but it's like a little bit fucked up. And when they go out into the main hall, they come across statues of gods that people worship before Yevon. And those are Kush, Velm, Sloan, Arb, Luchel, like all these different gods. I remember the gods in FF10, but it's weird because, like, they were never really a part of the story. You know what I mean? Like, they had these multiple statues that people would pray at, but it didn't really seem to matter, like it was mostly about Yevon. So it's weird that they brought it back to that, but I don't know. I don't get it. It's an odd setup for me. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around, I guess. So then they kind of search around, and this is when they come across Kush. And she's not... Yeah, she's super Kush.
Kush is... Oh my god. Kush is weed.
Yeah.
Like, we're just calling this person Kush. Just all day.
Yeah. Kush is real Kush.
And it's never not hilarious. It's never
it's
not
good every
funny.
time.
What do you fucking have to read Kush? That's something. It's like, what? God. Yeah. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So then they basically try to figure out what the fuck's going on, and Kush asks about a star in the sky, and all three of them give a different answer, and that's when we kind of know that they're in a different world. And then Kush dispenses into fireflies or pyreflies. She just fucking puffs. Kush goes out in a puff of smoke. And yeah, that's it for her for now. They kind of like are looking around to try to find their way back home, and there's like visions of people in the past.
Yeah,
it's really weird. I don't know, and it's like someone, and then this is the part where they talk about how a certain girl, someone has to be killed by Titus if they want to return home together. So there's like a weird like cliffhanger that it leaves us with. And this is when Waka and everyone is starting to look for the missing Titus and Yuna because they haven't come back yet. And they just find the trophy somehow. You remember the fucking... I mean, you don't remember it because you lost the Blitzball game, and I actually lost it. I think I've won it once, but I normally lose it.
Winning that stupid thing is canon?
Apparently. So did you really beat the game then?
Fuck you. Oh my god.
They find the statue at sea. I don't know how that works because it's made of metal. But yeah.
I'm gonna derail for a second. When you were just saying, did you actually beat the game? You got to that part in World of Final Fantasy where it was credits for 20 minutes, right? Were you extremely confused at the end of fucking chapter 1 or whatever? When it just like credits for days, and I was like, did the game just end? Did I like find it? Did I find a separate ending? I'm really fucking confused.
Yeah.
Tell me you got there and had the same reaction, because I was like, do I restart this thing? Do I wait for it? Do I press skip? It just kept going. Right? Am I crazy? Okay, all right.
No, it did. It was a lot of credits, too.
Yeah, it felt like ending credits. That's what it was. They did not feel like beginning credits. They felt like ending credits, and I had like barely done anything in the game, and I was like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. I walked into a hallway I wasn't supposed to walk into, and then this happens. Oh, my God. All right.
Yeah. So then we learn about this this guy whose name is Briar, I guess, and he is getting into some trouble because people are claiming, or Lulu claims, she saw people transforming into fiends out by the ruins of Besaid while yelling out his name. And this is where he kind of like goes out, looks up at the sky. He calls it Nightberry. We learned about his wife Marrow, who got killed, and his daughter Luchel, who was requested to change her name to Mora before she got married off. So now we've got some introduction to some new characters as well. He runs into the Albed crew and basically calls them, he's super racist, and he's mad at him for speaking Albed. And with Shinra, he calls him a Badol in our version, and I guess that's another word for Albed. Or no, it's an Albed robot creature. Okay. So it's like a fucking. It's not really even an android. It's just it's a slur. It's a racial slur against robots of a certain type.
There was that part where Yuna was like, "Oh, I'm half Albed. That's why my eyes are like this." Meaning, yeah.
So he was once Kush's guardian with a bunch of other people, and he was shot by a fake Badol, which is why he's basically racist. So he calls Shinra a Badol, right? And Shinra asks him like, what the fuck that means, and he kind of goes through the origins of the Albed people, and he fucking deceives Shinra and saying he's going to repair the ship, try to jack it and steal it, and then they knock him out. And they find out he's dead. He's been dead the whole time, and he doesn't have a lot of time left, I guess. There was something about like him, he had to complete whatever he was doing soon, or else he would just fade away.
Focus.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was feeling when I read this. It's like he's got an FF13 story here instead.
Or else he'll turn into a Seath.
Yeah. There's a bunch of other random shit with Tidus and Yuna, and they're kind of like having problems. I don't know, dude. My half kind of sucks.
Your half does suck. Sorry. It does. Like, my half had, like, ooh, they want, he's trying to get to her, and then they finally get together, and then they go missing, and they're in this world, but then, like, then they're just, like, meeting a bunch of weird characters and find out that, like, they're in a different world, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Very interesting. It obviously ends on a cliffhanger. We'll get the second half next time. When we talk about the audio drama, which neither of us have heard. So, yeah, Schweiss, I gotta say that every time it was like Tidus and Yuna for my half of the book, I was in. Whenever we were talking about Kush, I was out, and that was like half the book. But, like, I just liked... I mean, it's different. I don't have quite the same attachment with the FF13 characters, and maybe if I did, the FF13 books would be a little easier to get through. And they're all right. It's kind of nice, like, seeing the extra stuff. This one kind of had more of a narrative, and I did want to see, like, what happened after Tidus and Yuna got back together. So that was kind of exciting to, like, continue on. with that, you know, if we ever get a 10.3, obviously it'll take off where this book or the audio drama ends. So, like, I kind of appreciate it. Like, the stuff with, like, you know, he's waiting there for her and she's with the other people. Though it kind of doesn't make sense after FF10-2. It was still something where I was kind of like, I was into it. You know, I was into it story-wise. But yeah, other than that, I was just kind of like, nah. And a lot of people have shit on this book really hardcore. I think I believe it was Jake who basically said, you know, Titus dies in it, and maybe he does in the audio drama, but at least in this one, like, the death is like it's not a real thing. It's like something that Yuna thinks up. And the other thing I had heard before we started like going through this actual book is like that Sin comes back, and no, Sin doesn't come back in this, at least in this one, in this half of a story that we get a full novella. Sin is not really back. They're like in a different place. So yeah. I don't know. A lot of misinformation about this story. To me, it's like pretty unremarkable as it is. Although I did like, once again, the Titus and Yuna stuff. Just as a fan of the FF10 story. Well,
I mean, and it ends with them basically going to Xanarkand and standing where they had their big bonfire, that big scene in Final Fantasy X, and Yuna asks him if he's just a dream. And that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I was really into it for your half. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. You know, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. We get to see what happened in the past. We get to see the big war in this land. But for mine, it's just a bunch of random shit. It felt like it was just a bunch of nonsense.
It was. Yeah, I think it was.
It's like a racist old man who's
honestly, it derailed as soon as your part started. It derailed because it meant that like Titus's head coming off was not part of the thing anymore.
Yeah.
It just immediately went away, and it was like, okay, all right, now I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, we knew there's like a racist old guy who hates Bedols and the fucking Albed, right? And then there's the Sand Snake, or the Sand... God, not the Sand Snake. What am I saying? Got Thrones. Yeah, I got Thrones on the mind. I don't get...
Who is the most beautiful girl in the world?
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Fucking Sand Snakes. God damn it. They're the bad thing about Season 5 are those fucking Sand Snakes. Every time they're there, it's like...
Yeah.
Who has the worst lines in the show?
Yeah. Oh. You do.
Oh, they're all one-note. They're all the same character.
Yeah.
God damn it. All right, sorry.
The dumb thing, though, sorry, I was looking at I was honestly looking at my Schweiss and Johnson notebook when I said that, but I feel like it's going to end the same way that 10 ends, right? With him just disappearing at the end.
Oh, shit, you think so?
I have a feeling, yeah. Because, I mean, the whole thing with FF10 is super confusing and convoluted anyways, right? It's like he's a dream of the faith, but, like, the dream ends when he disappears. So, like, are they waking up? If they're waking up, why do they not have any power in the world after FF10? Like, is this what happens when they go back to sleep, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's overall, it is kind of better than some of the other ones, which is sad, because it's pretty boring and pretty dumb for the second half, at least, but...
I don't think our versions of it are boring. I think our running commentaries as we do the book is actually pretty fun. So,
Yeah.
and in case you guys are like intimidated by the 6-hour recording.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would listen to it, but I don't know. I don't really know. I feel like I listened, I read it, but I don't know what the fuck happened. You know what I mean? Like, I read it and I listened to your half and like I was ready to go, but it just seems like nothing took place. And I don't know how that could be possible, given how long this thing is. It's 6 hours of reading time. You know, that seems like a good chunk, but it also seems like nothing of importance really took place, other than we got some interesting backstory to the wars and the world, yeah, and like there's the possibility of random alternate universes
based upon thoughts.
Yeah, based upon thoughts
feelings.
Of the faith, right?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say on this book. Not much. Yeah, there's very little as a Final Fantasy X fan that like really was something I was interested in. It was all just like I just wanted Titus and Yuna. I just wanted Titus to get laid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really with him on that. You know, I really felt a lot of connection with him on that. That's part of the storyline.
I definitely get it.
Yeah, I totally get it. But yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts on it before we read a Final Fantasy story?
No, I mean, I wish it were better than it is, but it's honestly not the worst thing we've read. Especially the first half. There was some pretty cool stuff in there. And I feel like this is the... I feel like this is the only time we heard about the gods of Final Fantasy X, right? Other than you, Yevon, the ultimate being of the universe. Like, I feel like we never really knew who they were praying to in the game, and maybe that's just something I've forgotten over time. But this kind of did a good job of that. But going into the past in an alternate universe is bizarro. Like, and I don't know what's real and what's not real, and like that's what fucks you over with Final Fantasy X itself, and this is like even more confusing. And we don't have we don't have the next chunk, so we don't know what the fuck, it all means yet.
Yeah, that's true. Looking over the next chunk on the Wikia page, and I don't know if we'll ever know anything, but we'll see. See, Final Fantasy X will. I believe it's on the disc, right, for the PS3 version of this game. Am I crazy? I think it's on.
I remember something, but I mean,
we'll figure out a way to consume it, or we won't.
Yeah, if it's what I'm thinking, it was only like a 10-minute little video, unless it's something else that I just haven't gone into yet. Because remember there was that one little like interlude thing between 10 and 10.2? I assume that's not what it is, but like that's all I remember from Final Fantasy X Special Edition. With like the PS3 remasters, the game, that little short, and then 10.2, and then the last mission. I feel like that was it, but I might be wrong.
I got rid of mine, so hopefully it's on YouTube. That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Schweiss, do we have a Final Fantasy story this week, or are we out?
We have numerous Final Fantasy stories. Guys, we want to hear from you. So get us your Final Fantasy stories. You can email them to FFFanatics, that's 3 Fs, and then the rest of Fanatics, at Yahoo, or Gmail, not Yahoo, Jesus Christ, gmail.com. Nobody uses Yahoo. We're not old women here. At gmail.com. Let us know your stories. Not everyone could be on a Patreon episode invite, even patrons. So, give us your story and we'll read it on the show. Looks like the next one comes from Bob Ertis.
Okay, well, I'm not able to load the story.
That's all right. I got it. It's pretty... Oh, okay. He's got his story in a separate attachment. His initial email is, I have been a long-time listener to the show and enjoyed a lot of the Patreon guests lately. Thanks for filling a lot of the gaps in on games that I haven't been able to play. Enjoy finishing your list and having some free time to catch up on other things for a while. My FF story and rankings are attached. FF story. Bob Erdis. Did you get it to load?
Is this in a Word document?
Yes.
Shit, I don't know if my phone will open it. Hold on.
All right, I'll do the first chunk either way. I was introduced to Final Fantasy when my parents divorced. Oh, wow. And I got to play the original Final Fantasy on the NES. We never had a console until after the divorce, and it was probably just to help us feel comfortable living part-time in a new apartment. The adventure and gameplay of FF was really immersive in those days and got me hooked on the series, even though I didn't beat the first game until many years later. FF4 and FF6 were games I played at my best friend's house, and we played them over and over. He had Mystic Quest 2, which may be the first FF I beat myself, though we thought it sucked and was a poor shadow of what an FF game should be. They broke open the real legacy of the series with amazing storytelling, gameplay, and music. FF7 and FF8 came to the PC, so I was able to play those for myself at home. And those joined my favorites and continued on the strengths of storytelling and character that FF4 and 6 had built. After college, I had bought a PS2 when I started my first job and caught up on the rest of the series with FF9, 10, 10-2, 12, 2, 5, Tactics, Vagrant Story, and Dirge of Cerberus. Wow, was Dirge a disaster of a story and rough gameplay. Later I got yeah, very much so. Especially the story, although the gameplay is no pushover as far as shittiness goes. So later I got a PS3 and a Wii, and I played 13, 13-2, Chocobo's Dungeons, and Crystal Bears. I gave up on Crystal Bears pretty early due to the horrible controls. I can't believe that you guys stuck with it and actually completed that shitty game.
Me neither.
Yeah, I almost didn't. I was triggered. I'll tell you that. I have played some of 15, Lightning Returns, World of Final Fantasy, and beat FF4 After Years, and hope to add more to my FF list soon. Looking forward to the remakes of 7 and FF8.
I started listening to Ultima in your first year and love hearing other opinions on the games I love and hate, and to be able to experience some of those games I haven't had the chance to play, including the MMOs and those on platforms I don't own. Thanks for keeping the community involved through great discussions and for all of the other episodes on interesting topics that expand on what is covered in reviews. Nowadays, I have hardly any time to play games, as I have a toddler at home, but do get to play some of the mobile games in my spare time. Not the same, but with the podcast, I feel I know all the games, even if I can't play them.
All right. Looks like we've got the ranking here as well. Man.
This is ranking. Okay.
I think we should do bottom up on this.
I feel like he wrote it top down, so
he did.
There might be a flow to this.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah. So we'll just do it one at a time. You can start with FF6.
FF6, number 1. Grew up playing this with my friends. Very memorable characters. The unique battle style of each character was what made this something I replayed over and over and got me engaged with the characters and story even more. It had a very engaging plot. You actually hated Kefka and felt terrible each time Espers were killed or used by the Empire. Had amazing music, and Esper magic system was very fun gameplay mechanic. Best game by far.
Final Fantasy IX. This is number 2. Great music and characters made this game extremely charming, and I couldn't put it down since I started. My PS1 was broken, and I couldn't save the first time I played it, but almost made it through the game anyway. Oh my god.
Oh, shit.
Beatrix killed me in the final battle with her, so I had to ship it to Sony for repairs so I could play the full game. That's hilarious.
Wow. FF7, really memorable experience playing this in high school on PC, but graphics haven't aged as well as the previous 2 games on the list. Good characters and environment made up from some gaps in storytelling. Materia, chocobo races, sneaking into Shinra, chasing after Sephiroth, and getting through Midgar were all really memorable. Tifa and Aerith were great characters that brought Cloud to life.
Final Fantasy IV. This was the first really great FF game and had wonderful characters, music, and story. Played the hell out of this game with friends growing up, and the world was very well developed. One of the best. Kain, Cecil, Rosa, and Rydia are all great characters, and you felt the world was alive.
FF10. Enjoyed Yuna's story arc and the characters. Actually enjoyed the Blitzball minigames, but the others were awful.
We're not gonna listen to the rest of this.
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Titus was a good character, and the pacing was a bit slow through the story.
Titus was not a good character, is what he says.
Oh, not a good character, sorry. Titus was not a good character, and the pacing was a bit slow through the story. Environments felt too constrained, but okay compared to FF13. Great music, but Sin and Jecht felt like strange bosses that didn't fit FF.
Final Fantasy VIII. I loved the story, and Renoa especially, and enjoyed everything except the draw system and Esthar music. Those were grating. Cutscenes and music tied in really well with the mission-centered feel of the storytelling, got me deep into this game and story. Those epic moments of the raid on Dolette, the attack on the sorceress in the city, and the segment in space were really strong.
FF Tactics. This game took forever to get through and was hard, but the battle system was such an in-depth one that I put over 100 hours into it and enjoyed every one of them. Restarting battles after 40 minutes was a pain, but it made you think more about the strategy. I thought the story was good, but not great, but the battles were great. I would love to play the sequels someday.
Well, the story gets worse.
Yeah.
But the gameplay, I think, gets better. But, you know... You FF Tactics apologists out there. All right, Final Fantasy V. Very good job system. Made this a lot of fun to play. Good story with nice side characters. Gilgamesh. Color schemes and visuals were a bit odd, but it made it a bit lighter in tone than it could have been. I played through this a couple of times and enjoyed a second playthrough.
FF12. Characters and world felt strong, but the story was poorly told and confusing, didn't center around the main characters well. I hated the battle system, and have been disappointed ever since FF12 that the player has lost the direct control of what characters will do in real time. Hunts were more memorable than the story, which is a bad sign. I feel like I should replay this, but I can't get motivated to do so.
That's fair. Well, I think FF15 you could direct control of what the character does. Although there is that whole thing where you like hold down the square button for the attacks. It's a little odd. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting critique. Since FF12, you've never really been in direct control of characters throughout the whole like thing of it, I guess. So everything else you would select attack and they would attack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do like an auto cycle kind of thing. Interesting. Yeah, you might have a point there. Final Fantasy XIII, great visuals, some good characters, but again, bad storytelling. The good part of FF12 was the huge immersive world, and we lost that completely with FF13 and moved from one auto battle system to another. This one was at least more engaging and fast, but the stagger system was terribly tedious and repetitive. Made the characters themselves unimportant in the gameplay and just a rotation of jobs that you get used to the timing right for the attacks. The giant hallway was tedious. The reading you had to do to understand everything was tedious. And Hope was the most annoying character in the FF series. Snow should have dropped him off the ledge with his mom.
Yeah, probably. FF1, very difficult story to follow.
Just wait until Hope becomes your god.
Yeah. So FF1, very difficult story to follow since you usually didn't know where to go. But that added to the exploration aspect, which was very strong. Wonderful music that still makes me want to play this game, even in the original MIDI sound. Dungeons were really dangerous and hard, and when you finally beat the Marsh Cave, or Earth Cave, it felt like a huge accomplishment.
Final Fantasy III, memorable for its job system, which was later done better in FF5, but was a nice idea to develop the series.
FF2. Memorable mostly for the broken gameplay system where I spent hours attacking myself to build up HP and attack skills. This makes it the worst mainline FF game, but if done better and balanced, it should have been a good improvement on FF1, with real protagonists and a real story that you could follow and know where to go if you paid attention. I think these are the spin-offs ranked.
Yeah, these are the spin-offs ranked afterwards. So that was, okay, yeah, that's a pretty... I don't think that's a big surprises list. FF10's a little low. But,
12's a little low.
Yeah, 12 is a little low, too.
9's a little high. 8's a little high. Not bad, though. Not bad.
I
can't hate it.
Good roundup of rankings there. Good thoughts. All right, so these are the spin-offs. Final Fantasy IV After Years, based on the success of its parent, this probably couldn't have gone wrong. Nice addition of new characters that fit into the old plot and world. So these are, just straight up ranking the spin-offs. So his best spin-off or sequel is Final Fantasy IV After Years. It's a good one.
Yeah. Second best, FF10-2. Really enjoyed the battle system, story, and changed feel of characters. Weren't great, though. Okay, so he didn't like the story, but he really liked the battle system.
He really liked how it played. It looks like a Final Fantasy 13-2. Stuck with problems in the storytelling of FF13. This felt like an easier game to enjoy, but the plot was missing. It didn't make sense even when you knew what was going on. Why was lightning gone? Why is Snow wandering around in time without Sarah? I haven't been able to finish the game yet, but based on my experience so far, it is third on this list.
FF Chocobo's Dungeon.
Hey, you'll get more information by listening to 2 of our books.
That's right.
Book on tapes. That's right.
That's right.
Chocobo's Dungeon?
Yep.
What? Oh, okay. I'm seeing the other games.
It's better than the other ones. Oh, wait, no. It's not better than the one right below us. That's
the only one where I think it should be ranked above it. But we'll talk about that more on our final episode.
Yeah.
Of the weekly show.
Right. FF Chocobo's Dungeon. Actually, this was very fun, interesting gameplay, some very challenging dungeons, and deep systems to build your character. Story was terrible, but it didn't get in the way of enjoying all of the different dungeons. Then it just says Vagrant Story.
Vagrant Story. No thoughts.
None.
None.
That's rude. That shouldn't be there.
No, Vagrant Story should be at the much higher.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Bad Final Fantasy, but at least not painful. It felt like a crap game back in the SNES era, but it is no dirge.
Yeah. FF Crystal Bearers. It is hard to believe this beats out any FF game, but the story was okay, and the graphics were quite good. Wow, was the gameplay and the controls terrible. How could anyone think that we would enjoy spending a whole game levitating objects at our enemies? This was nearly unplayable. I know. Oh, I know.
Yeah, did he not play the other Crystal Chronicles? I loved how that it's like, oh my god. Wow.
Oh, yeah, why Bearers? That's bad. That's bad for the gameplay. Fuck. Yeah.
Final Fantasy.
There are better Crystal Chronicle games, dude. Just all of them almost are better. I would almost say.
I think you did rank Crystal Bearers as the worst.
I think I did say that. Yeah.
I ranked it as second worst.
Yes, I think so. I think that's what it was. Yeah. Jesus.
Even though its story is the best by a large margin, but everything, the fucking gameplay is so bad. Only the original Crystal Chronicles could possibly even compete with how bad the gameplay is. And it's like we're forgetting how bad the gameplay is in that original Crystal Chronicles. It's a real clunkster. It's a real clunker.
Yeah.
Clunker McClunkface.
It is. It is.
Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus. This is the bottom of the list and the last part of the letter. I am amazed I got through this game. at the end, I had no idea what the story was, or if it had anything to do with Final Fantasy VII. I hope it didn't. I have played other shooters and enjoyed them, but this was painful. And that is Bob Erdis's Final Fantasy story.
Yeah.
So thank you, Bob, for sending that in. We really appreciate it. Guys, keep on sending those in. We're going to read them up until our final episode. So you got a couple more weeks to do that. I'll just say 5 more weeks because we're going to pre-record our finale. And then you'll get it a few months later. But yeah, guys, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
We have 2 iTunes reviews we're going to read, one of which was cut off from, a few episodes ago.
Yeah, it was a few weeks back.
And another one's a brand new one. And so let's get into that. You got the first one pulled up? The one we screwed up on?
I certainly do. So this is a 5-star review from X-Tool. It's titled Best Podcast for FF. I started listening to these guys a month or so ago after recently getting back into FF games as an adult, and this is now one of my favorite go-to podcasts. They cover ground on even some of the less popular and older games out there, which is nice because the other FF-based podcasts I've briefly listened to only touch on the recent games. Their banter is hilarious and at times irreverent, which is refreshing to me. Granted, everyone has their own taste in banter, but as a night shift ICU nurse listening on the way home from work, I enjoy it very much. They don't always agree, which I think adds to the authenticity and rawness of the conversation. It's not just an echo chamber praising every little thing about the series like similar podcasts I've come across. They're also interactive with their listeners, which is awesome. All in all, the episodes are casual while being well put together. There's definitely a lot of time that goes into what they do. I've cried from laughing while listening to them probably twice. If you're a fan of the series, you should definitely give it a listen.
Really appreciate that. I really appreciate 5 stars. And I really appreciate the fact that you've cried laughing twice in the 55 days of recording time we have given you.
Yeah, yeah. 2 of those days, we hit the mark.
Oh, yeah. 2 of those days, we really hit it out of the park.
Is that how many days we have, really?
Working days. So 8-hour shifts. If we did the show as 8-hour shifts, we've done it for 55 days.
Whew.
Isn't that crazy? It's half that for waking days. So almost a month.
God damn. That is a lot of time. So I'm glad we got you twice.
Yeah. So this is from Trixie Addicts, 5 stars as well. The name says it all. This is the absolute ultimate Final Fantasy podcast. I started a new job in 2017. Oh, fuck. I already fucked this up. Hold on. This is the ultimate Final Fantasy podcast where we just fuck up when we read things all the time.
That's right.
I started a new job in 2017 and found that podcasts would be something good to get in order to make the work go by more smoothly. I never really listened to a podcast before, so I decided that an FF podcast would be a great place to start. And Ultima is exactly what I was looking for. Want in-depth Final Fantasy reviews? This is the podcast for you. Looking for some interesting facts about FF and the people that made it? This is the podcast for you. Want to laugh hard while listening to some hardcore ranting about some FF stuff? This is the podcast for you. Not only is this podcast great, but you need to listen to every episode. Don't just listen to the game reviews. Listen to everything in between. There's gold in every episode, and I can't praise it enough. They will be stopping the weekly format soon, but don't be sad about it. Just go back through and start over. It's absolutely worth it. Jump in and enjoy the grind. Also, the audio gets better, so don't be a loser that quits after episode 1.
That's right.
That's right.
We know they're out there, too. We can see it.
Yeah, having listened to a good chunk of our old episodes, I say there are some episodes you could probably skip, but I won't name which ones those are.
Yeah, we'll leave that We'll leave that up to you to decide.
I'll leave that to you. But thank you guys for the reviews. Thank you for your FF stories. Once again, fffanatics123@gmail.com. You can tweet me at Joseph DeGolier.
Tweet me at UFF Podcast.
You can join our Discord channel by looking at Nude Clan Podcast's Twitter page. It's just going to be on there. You can get the link and join us on there. If you want to get on the PlayStation Network thing, talk to Schweiss about it on Twitter. We just have like a bunch of little chats going on everywhere. The Discord channel is really fun. Really, we should have done this a while ago, actually. So I'm surprised our Discord channel was so late in the making. But yeah, we still have our forums up up till the end of the weekly show. So if you want to give us your reviews for World of Final Fantasy, there's already a place to put those. So please put that in there. Thank you to Shinru for the news, and check out our other shows. The Godzilla podcast is one I do with my friend Drew, and we go through all of the Godzilla series very slowly, and we do commentaries on each of the Godzilla movies. So that's been a lot of fun. Been working on that for a couple of years. And of course, there's Nude Clan, a video game podcast. NUDE space CLAN. Nude Clan, which may be the greatest video game podcast of all time. I don't know. Maybe second to this one. So go check that out. Yeah, I used to be on the show, but Schweiss is still on the show, and it's hilarious and really great. They just did like a review on 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand, that classic game that everybody knows and loves. It's just great. So go listen to that show. And if you are still even thinking about Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones podcast on our network called For a Few Chickens More, A Song of Schweiss and Johnson. Go check that one out, guys. They are in season 5 right now, and they'll be wrapping it up. However, you do need to actually watch the whole show before listening to the show, because they can't fucking help themselves without, like, they have to talk about the ending to season 8 every episode that they talk about season 5.
That's right, yeah. It all boils down to that ending. So don't listen to the show past the season 8 stuff unless you've watched season 8, because it will be ruined. But that is still going. Got another episode out tomorrow. So 2 a week until that shit's done. That's kind of the plan.
Nice. And guys, yeah, I think that's it, Schweiss.
Oh, we got Puff Puff Hour too. Dragon Quest podcast.
Yeah, I feel like Dragon Quest.
Yeah, you know, got a few buddies. Neither of us are involved. That's the first one on the network that's that way.
Yeah,
or it's neither of us, so it's weird.
I mean, we had a terrible pilot for a Legend of Zelda show that didn't happen.
Yeah. It's too bad it wasn't like our pilot of Nude Clan where we were all just screaming at each other. Like, I wish it would have been one of those where it just evolved into, like, personal insults.
Fuck, I haven't listened to that one in a while.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that in years. That was a very heated night amongst friends.
But yeah. Well, I gotta find like another fucking outlet after this weekly show is over. Shit.
I know, man. This is gonna end late October, and Schweiss and Johnson is gonna end.
Can you imagine we tried to end the show by May 14th?
Yeah, that's insanity.
We could have done it, too. If it wasn't for that meddling kid.
Yeah.
But, you know, life happens, I guess. We just slow down. We slow the fuck down. But, hey, we're finishing it all. Shit. Yeah. I mean, we just have half a TV show to watch and an audio drama to listen to, and then a video game to finish.
That's insane. It's so close. Like,
yeah.
It seems wrong. It seems like there should be more. But thinking back, it's like, man, there has been a lot of shit. Like, just unholy amounts of shit that they've just put out, like under the flagship of Final Fantasy. Just any one idea that any one person in the company had, it's fucking out there. Like they're probably the most inclusive company of all time when it comes to their employees getting their ideas out and getting their crazy names out.
In terms of so we're not counting mobile kind of cash grabby games that Final Fantasy does participate in, unfortunately. But as far as like legitimately released games, standalone games, I believe there was 46. It's like it's a lot of shit, and we've gone through all but one now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, weird. We're gonna have. God, it's so weird. We've been saying goodbye to the show for the last 6 months, but
goodbye now. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. But we'll have to say it 4 more times, basically.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then we'll say hello to Mana. Well, to 14, I guess, and then to Mana. The Mana games. So, yeah. Thanks for hanging out, though, guys. We really appreciate it. Tell a friend, leave a review, give us some money on Patreon. Do what you want to do. Support the show any way you can. You know where to go. You know all the shit. Yeah, and try to do some more Patreon episodes when we can. Schedule's a little more solid for me now, but Joe's is the fluctuating fucker. So
sorry, man. It's not that I want it to be that way. Oh, by the way, when I said I would get to 100, I got to 100. I'm at 111 job applications done. 1 interview. I did not get the position.
1 out of 100? God.
Yeah.
Dude.
I told you. It's an uphill battle, bro.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, I might be looking for other part-time gigs that are near me, so I can split 3 days at the place I work already and 3 days somewhere else. Just get some money kind of geared up and get my own place and work from there. I might do that.
There's always the post office.
It's true, and there's a post office I can walk right to. It's not very far.
Yeah,
it's like half a mile away or something like that. It's not too bad.
Yeah, man.
But yeah. All right, let's get out of here.
All right, thanks for hanging, guys. Until next time, enjoy the grind.
dark